Hello there, sword friends. Today I wanted to do a quick chat about the Hanwei 30th Anniversary Musashi Katana, and that's because I happen to have two of them on hand right now. I'm going to set the swords down now for just a minute and talk a little bit about the Hanwei 30th Anniversary Musashi Katana. So there's some measurements that are listed on the website still. I will flip my screen over here so you can see them. Look at all these measurements and stuff. This is from the website. It says it's out of stock now. I'm pretty sure this retailed for about $1,000. I note that the measurements are actually kind of off here. It says blade 20.5 inch and 11.25 inch. Both of the swords that I have are actually really close to one another. 29-inch blades, not 28.5 inch, and this 11.75 inch ska, and they're both the same. I would note that one blade is actually 1 ounce heavier than the other. Where that ounce is isn't really, frankly, something I'm going to investigate thoroughly because I don't want to. But they're actually pretty close to one another, and very often when I have two Hanwei blades in my hand of the same model, they have a lot more variation between them than these two do. So the attention to detail and trying to at least make them very much the same seems to have worked out better than I guess it normally does. But the 30th Anniversary Musashi is a 30th Anniversary Collector's Edition sword with a limited run of 250 pieces. With that, you get this fancy Certificate of Authenticity, which hopefully makes you feel better about having a Certificate of Authenticity collector or something. I don't know why these make people feel better. It's a laminated card, so you're special, I guess. But sometimes if you buy them new, you get this one. I have the one that I'm left with, actually, because one of these is sold and I need to send it off. The one that I'm left with actually doesn't have a Certificate of Authenticity, but it's still what it is, even though it doesn't have a laminated card. You can also tell on these, or sometimes many of the other limited edition Hanweis, if they're limited, they have this kind of numbering system on the habaki. This one is number 160, the other is 183, but even if it doesn't have a Certificate of Authenticity, you can usually tell by the numbering system on the habaki. The 30th anniversary is a little bit different compared to some of the other anniversary or limited editions. I suppose the only other limited edition 25th anniversary that I can think of was the Shinto. I'm not sure if they did a 20th or 10th or some other thing. But what I can say is that the 25th anniversary Shinto was basically the same model Shinto. It was the same kind of geometry and shape, and it is really pretty much the same as the standard Shinto blade that you could buy from Hanwei, but it was made with a different type of steel, and it had bedazzled fittings, if you will. This is quite a bit different in the sense that while the fittings are the same, you have the Musashi Suba and the standard kind of Musashi, or the Musashi katanas often come with these Fuchikashira and this Minuki, which is silver instead of the gold color it often is. The shape of the blade is different than any other Musashi that I've seen. The original one was much thicker and, a little bit different shaped blade. The other blades have often been like long 29-inch blades, but usually they have 14 or 15-inch handles on them. So this is a shorter handle. It's not exactly a kind of a carbon copy that's been bedazzled and put in a fancier type of steel. It's kind of a different model all unto itself. And so it is made with folded steel as opposed to usually the Musashi, I suppose, isn't. So they put in a different type of steel, but it's not the special Hanwei steel that the Bamboo Mat and Lion Dog are made from, which is, I believe, what the 25th anniversary Shinto is. So a little bit different direction, I suppose, on this. The color scheme is different. You have white Samigawa with blue Ito. The Musashis are usually black. And you have this two-tone Sageo, which is two different shades of blue. Other than that, if I look at just the features of the blade, I think Hanwei does a pretty good job at casting the Fuchikashira. They're all actually pretty well done, and that's par for the course for Hanwei. The handle on this, I think, has the ska itself is just, I think, wasted a little bit better. And sometimes on their special editions, they do a little bit better job of refining the Suka shape. It's still not perfect, but I would say it's I would like to see a shape like this more frequently on Hanwei blades. The Ito is tight for Hanwei, but not tight for everyone else. I'm able to kind of push it around with my fingers under some kind of deliberate force here, but some spots are much tougher to move. It's tighter than the average Hanwei, but I don't know that I would necessarily say it's on par with some of the other really high-end katana manufacturers. Though at $1,000, this is well within reason and expectation. There's a silver kind of plated, I don't know if it's plated or just kind of nickel-coated habaki. You can see again, here's the number. It's got a scratch pattern on it. It's pretty standard for Hanwei. You won't be able to see much, but I'll put some photos up on an overlay here. The blade itself is reasonably well executed, but it has some rippling in the surface of the steel and along the bohee. It's not perfect, but it's better than I've seen from some other Hanweis, but I still think they need a little bit of improvement in that realm. The hata, you can't see it much under the oil, is subtle, really, but I can make out that it's a Swedish powder steel. The kote is polished on, and I would say that this is maybe on par, or kind of what I see on Hanwei blades pretty frequently. It's not as well done, I guess, as I would like. Generally speaking, there's a much more kind of noticeable transition than this, and it's okay, but I think there's others that do a little bit better job at $1,000. The other thing that I'm just going to note about the sword is that it's 29 inches long. It's got almost a 12-inch handle. It has a recipe to be a sword that I really like the feel of, but frankly, I don't. It feels clumsy in my hand. Now, I'm going to post up the weapon dynamic stuff so you can see some of the balance properties of the sword, and maybe that'll give you a better idea. I mean, it feels kind of close to something I'd like, but just misses the mark a little bit. It feels a little cumbersome and odd in my hand. I'm not a big fan. So that's my personal take. The feeling doesn't sit right with me, and hopefully the dynamics will maybe explain better where my words are failing. But I just get a kind of clumsy, dead feeling. Not so much that it's ridiculous, it's not a crowbar, it's not awful, but it's just not as refined as some of the other swords I've seen from Hanwei or the other stuff that's available. So when I look at it, is it worth buying? I don't know. One, I always get nervous when I see these collector kind of things come around. So here we have a sword for $160. You do get some nice stuff. I mean, I forgot to mention the saya. It's a nice piano black, kind of lacquered saya. It's reasonably well, done for Hanwei. I suppose it's pretty big, but it's certainly not bad for modern mass production swords. The thing I kind of harp on, I guess, a lot is this is supposed to be a limited run of 250 pieces, and so does that make it collectible? And that depends on what you're looking at. So you have the collector standpoint of it's a limited edition, therefore it is collectible. Technically, yeah, but it doesn't increase in value so much. Historically, as I look at the 25th anniversary of Shinto, as I look at other limited edition pieces Hanwei has put out, they don't often sell for more than what the original MSRP was. And I think that's the idea of a collection, or in one way, is that it's an investment that will gain in value over time. And I don't think that these swords really do that. So historically, many of the katana that I've seen that are well past their production runs and have been, discontinued for a long time, they still don't sell for more than what their original MSRP does, and often quite a bit below. There are some exceptions to that, but pretty rare ones. And in fact, it doesn't necessarily have to be a limited run. For example, the only Hanwei sword that really comes to mind that sells for well over what it did originally is the tactical wakizashi. For some reason, people go gaga over that thing. I remember when they were on closeout for $120, and now on eBay they go for close to $400. So it's tough to say what's going to gain in value. It doesn't necessarily happen from just being a limited run. From that aspect, then I would say probably not. But if you're a collector and you just like the way it looks, then who the fuck am I to tell you how to spend your money? Or anyone for that matter. If you like it, and I don't think there's anything functionally terribly god awful missing wrong with it, spend your money on it. It's cool and nice, and if it suits your fancy, then spend your money on it. From the backyard cutter practitioner side of things, I don't think that this sword really has any particular features that other swords don't. So I didn't personally like the feeling of it, but one man's trash is another man's treasure. Just because I don't like the feeling doesn't mean that dynamically it won't feel great to you. Nothing's inherently wrong, but it does seem like you could get different model Hanwei swords for about the same price. So I don't know that there's any inherent drive to buy one of these, while you can still find one. Then I have, martial arts practitioners. It's a reasonably fine sword. I don't know that I would want to move it around for EI. It's a little bit on the heavier side for that. One sword was 2 pounds 6 ounces. One sword was 2 pounds 7 ounces, drawn. And at that weight, you're not at the heaviest realm, you're not at the lightest realm, but I would rather have a lighter sword if I'm doing a lot of kata or iaido. And for cutting, it's not really suited, or at least geared toward tatami mat cutting. Maybe it's better suited toward bamboo cutting or harder target cutting, but I don't know that that this would necessarily be my first choice for that. It wouldn't be what I would gravitate toward to do, just about any type of cutting. I think there's probably an instrument that's more refined to do it. So from the practitioner standpoint, I don't see lots of push to get it. Just my personal take. So yeah, I'm not a super big fan of this one. I think they missed the mark a little bit, but nevertheless, they did hit the. They're still going strong from the 25th anniversary. I think that sword was pretty amazing. So I'll let this one kind of go and still keep hope for maybe a 35th anniversary. Something cool. I'm not sure what it'll be. Hopefully it'll be something cool anyway. That's just about all I have for you. I hope you liked the tour and just a little chat about it. I didn't want to do a full review on one of these, mostly because you can't really buy them, and I don't see a point in investing lots of time and energy into doing a review and spending hours editing a video for something that you can't actually go out and buy. But you might be able to find something like this around still. There's a limited quantity, and hopefully it was interesting and helped you make a decision if you see one you're interested in. So I'm going to stop rambling. That's all I have for you. Cheers, and thanks for watching.